Joining us now is Tammy Ben-Haim, Consul General of Israel to South India. Tammy, thank you so much for taking time out to speak to NDTV. It's been described as a shocking attack globally, condemnation coming across the board. But take us through what you're hearing from family and friends back in Israel. Your own first thoughts of what's happening there.
Yeah, one, thank you for talking about this, and thank you for the support, the tremendous support we've been getting from friends around the world, but definitely here from India, who, sadly know what terror is and terror attacks. But in this case, I think there are no words to describe it. Initially, like everybody, when we started seeing it yesterday, Saturday morning, we weren't sure if this was real or some horrible terror movie. And sadly, it's real, and it's affecting almost every single person in Israel, whether they live in the areas, whether they have their husbands, my friends' sons, everybody's being drafted into the army. This is a full-fledged war started by a terrorist organization, and there are just no words to describe it. I'm sure you saw some of the scenes, the horrific going into towns, targeting civilians, targeting men, women, children, to kill them, to injure them, to harm them, to take them as hostages. I don't think we have ever experienced such a horrible, heartbreaking, massive trauma from these terrorists.
Tammy, you've served in several parts of the world. You've been in the diplomatic service for several years. Tell me what is running through the minds of Israeli diplomats. Is there a fear that this could end up into a prolonged conflict, something that you all have worked to avert for many years now?
Exactly. Israel has been always averting this, but Israel, as any other country would in this very specific, similar situation, Israel will persevere. That's first and foremost. You have to make, understand this. We are strong. We'll get through this, but the price and the price of lives now is incredibly high, and the hostages being held in Gaza. We will do whatever is necessary. We will take whatever means necessary to protect the citizens in Israel, to try to free and see what is happening in Gaza. Nothing will be off limits. Our prime minister, our government has called for the citizens of Gaza, to get away if they can. The Hamas terrorist organization has been using civilians and human shields now for years. And we've been talking about it and saying they're holding their own people, their own civilians hostages in order to protect themselves. But now we have to get in there, and Israel will do anything it needs, and it will take any means necessary to end this and end this, and end this the way, I can't say it should already because it went past that, but to end this as quickly, obviously, as possible, but to get everybody who can be taken out alive and saved and rescued. We will do whatever needed.
The airspace over Israel and Tel Aviv has been shut out right now for passenger jets. What's the thinking in terms of this whole process? I mean, do you believe that this could be prolonged, or would this be a short-term one which will be revisited shortly?
We can only say that we hope it's short-term, but as Hamas terror organization is being supported and funded by Iran, so is Hezbollah in the north from Lebanon. And in the past hour or so, rockets are now being shot by the Hezbollah terror group to North Israel, to the north. So, of course, what we're aiming for is to open the airspace and to allow flights to continue, both for people and many, many volunteers who want to come into Israel now and come back, some home and some it's not their home, but they want to come. And for those who need to get out. But we have to see as the situation develops.
Any updates on Indians stranded there from your own mission there in Bangalore? Have people reached out to you, families? What are you hearing?
At the moment, what we've received is actually requests from Indian journalists and other Indians to try to go to Israel, whether to help out, which we're very thankful for, or for journalists to cover the story. Look, there are Indians are the biggest group of international students that we have in our universities and colleges. So there are Indians at the moment in Israel, but we haven't heard, God willing, it will stay this way, anything about specific, Indian people, Indian citizens who need help in Israel, and we pray and hope that it stays this way. But there are, and sadly, there are among the almost 2,000 people injured and over 300 people killed by Hamas terror. There are some people who are, tourists in Israel, who are working in Israel, who are foreigners as well.
In terms of, I'm talking about the larger diplomatic fallout in terms of this, Israel-Palestine relationship, and also efforts to possibly normalize Saudi-Israel relationship that one has been speaking about so long. Where do you see this taking you back? It possibly, there is a fear that this could set back several diplomatic efforts by many years.
I think we need to look at it the other way. There's no reason for this incident or this war or this attack to have any impact or negative impact on these budding relationships. I think any country in the world, India has experienced it a few times, and we can talk about 26/11, 2008. The U.S. has also experienced. When you have a terror attack, you retaliate, you fight back, you combat this, and we need to do this by all the countries, democracies, non-democracies, but people who want peace, countries and governments who want peace. We need to stand together against this, heinous act of terror. So if you look at it this way, there's no reason for it to have a negative effect on the diplomatic relationship. I think we would, if any other country experienced, and we obviously hope this will never happen, but if any country experienced an attack like this or similar, obviously we would support their fighting back to protect their own citizens.
Right. Important point that you make there, a nuanced one at that. Over the last few years also, Tammy, the focus of Israeli missions has been, especially in India, to build tourism, business relationships. Is there a fear that this could also set those back?
Of course, there's a fear. Obviously, in the immediate time, it will set it back. But we've bounced, Israel, other countries. It's horrible to say, but in this world today, we're resilient. We bounce back from these things. We have attacks, we have wars, and we're able to, to persevere, to conquer, to come out on top. I can only pray and hope that we'll see this result for Israel in the near future as possible. Israel definitely does not want to prolong this war. Israel does not want, as the terrorists do, to harm civilians, to have people's lives ruined, to have their, daily routines upended for a long time. We want the calm, we want the peace to return as quickly as possible. And this, the government of Israel, the Israel Defense Forces, and basically everybody in Israel will work to achieve.
Tammy, you've spoken as a diplomat. I just want to probe a little bit about your own personal thoughts right now. What would be your concerns right now in terms of when you're speaking to your family members or friends back home? Just take us through those emotional moments that you possibly hear from them.
I will try to convey it, but as I said, everybody I've spoken to, my aunts, my parents, my close friends, they either their husbands have been drafted for the reserve, now going to the north or south of Israel. Their sons who are in the army are in active duty in those areas. And even those who are not, there was a big party because it's, it was a Saturday, it was a holiday weekend for us. It's one of the Jewish festivals. This is a time of Jewish festivals. So many young people in their 20s went to visit South Israel, went to the desert, went to parties. So just imagine, young people going to enjoy Israel are killed, are injured, and are taken hostage. Israel is tiny. I keep, we're 10 million people total, the size or the population of Bangalore. So every single person is affected. I haven't had one phone call, one Zoom call, WhatsApp of somebody who doesn't know personally somebody who is suffering at the moment, somebody who we have to pray. And please, if I can tell people to keep praying for, to end this. I cannot, you cannot imagine we're here and what me and my family are feeling here. It's nothing compared to what is going on now for each and every single family in Israel, and it's unimaginable, and it's incredibly, incredibly sad.
Our prayers for conflict to end and not escalate further on all sides, for human lives to be saved. Thank you so much, Tammy. Obviously, it brings back
Thank you.
memories of 1973, the fears since then. Thank you
Yeah,
so much,
the
Tammy,
attack.
for speaking with NDTV.